Baen Books is in huge trouble. I have just done days worth of research, guys. This might be a little bit of a long video as I go over the setup on what's happened here. This is the wildest thing in science fiction and fantasy over the last couple of years. It's been absolutely buried. Nobody knows about this, and we're going to bring you the information on what's happening and what Peter Thiel did in order to... Thiel, sorry about that. I know it. I pronounce things here. I'll learn to talk pretty one day on YouTube. It's a thing. I'm a much better writer than I'm a YouTuber. But this is crazy. So strap into your seats, books fans. This is the biggest story in science fiction and fantasy news in 2025, perhaps ever. Let's talk about what's going on. Smash that like and subscribe button. Join us here, guys. This is my Fandom Pulse Substack, where I write the news every single morning. Been working on this story for a long, long time, so I'd urge you to sign up there. I'm also a science fiction writer myself, and I would love for you to check out my Arroz War. This is a 3-book trilogy, and I'm actually writing a new series that's spinning right out of this, so this is a great place to start on my worlds. If you want some different science fiction from what mainstream publishing has to offer, this is my series, and all that would have been fit in pretty well at Baen, I think, if those guys would have been a little nicer to me. But this is where it is, and this is where it's at. Independent publishing, my friends. Check it out. Where the story starts, we've got a spy who embeds himself on an alien starship in the middle of a war. He's trying to bring back information to humanity, and he gets personally entangled in a way that he's not prepared for. It really builds up so huge over the trilogy. So get the whole trilogy. People love how it pays off over the 3 books, and so when you get to that point, you'll be like, wow. And you'll be set up for what I'm coming out with this year, which is the best work of my career. I'm so thrilled with what I'm writing right now. I'll tell you the name of the series. It's called Valiant Frontiers. You're going to absolutely love it if you're a science fiction fan. So start here. It's on ebook, print, and audio, and that's in the description below. Thank you guys so much for reading. You've made the last year incredible, and it's only going to get better from here. The best is yet to come. Things are changing. Donald Trump is changing everything, my friends. And this is what we got right here. How Donald Trump advisor Peter Thiel completely upended science fiction and fantasy publishing. So I did a video a couple weeks ago about a group called Ark Press. And DJ Butler, who's a good guy, he came from Baen Books, announced that this Ark Press was happening and that it was coming out to exist in 2026, basically. They're taking this year to build up a stable of authors and get things going. The big notable thing was they announced that Larry Correia was going to have a new modern fantasy series. Now, Larry Correia is a heavy hitter in science fiction and fantasy, and he makes good money. He pretty much carries Baen Books on his back, and that's just how much money the guy makes. It's huge. And so when he's doing a modern fantasy, which is very similar to Monster Hunter International, his series, and he's doing it with a new press instead of Baen Books, you kind of go, wow, what's going on here? Well, that's what I thought. So I started to research into things, my friends. And I went on a Twitter Spaces call with DJ Butler, who was talking about Ark Press. I asked the question at the time, who owns Ark Press? And he told me that's not public information. Shut it down very, very quickly. Now, I'm not criticizing DJ at all because it's not public information. But as a journalist, I decided to do my duty, and I started digging over the last couple of weeks into this. And I found a rabbit hole of craziness that Ark Press has big time money behind it. And Baen Books is actually in big trouble because of what has transpired because of this. Very interesting stuff. So this is where it happens. The implications are much bigger than genre book fans may have realized. The company is backed by Donald Trump advisor Peter Thiel and his investment group, putting a big target on the back of Tony Weisskopf's Baen Books. So we're going to get into the background now of where all this goes down. Elon Musk, of course, has garnered a lot of attention with the culture war. He's threatened to buy Dungeons & Dragons. He bought X, changing the landscape for people to talk. Peter Thiel's been making waves behind the scenes, though. You guys might not be aware of this, but his investment group helped found Passage Publishing, or Passage Press. Now, this group is an inherently right-wing group. They're unabashed about it. If you look at what they talk about, you can see immediately up there, to all esteemed guests and sponsors, thank you for joining Passage Press and celebrating this historical electoral victory. The Trump coalition represented here tonight stands for an unprecedented force in American politics. We now have a rare opportunity to reassert our individual might, our creative dynamism, and reclaim our culture. Let's not lose sight of this moment. Let's lead the way. There's much work to be done. Jonathan Keeperman, founder, Passage Press. Now, Jonathan Keeperman is, of course, the head of this company, and it is backed by Peter Thiel's investment group. They have big money behind it. Passage Publishing has sponsored various Trump events. They are a big deal. Now, they've been publishing mostly stuff from like the 40s and 50s with these like prestige formats, beautiful books they put out. bringing back classic American culture, trying to bring it to the forefront. It is kind of a niche-y thing, but there's a huge, huge audience for it. But Peter Thiel and company, it seems like they were also interested in science fiction and fantasy as a part of the culture war. Much like Elon Musk has been commenting on Dungeons and Dragons, Peter Thiel's doing this in literature, and it seems like these guys are making moves intentionally to change the course of culture, which has been a disaster. If you don't know how bad science fiction and fantasy publishing has been, it's been a woke nightmare. It's been insane, and the left has destroyed institutions like Worldcon and the Hugo Awards, while propping up authors like N.K. Jemisin and John Scalzi, talents not nearly worthy of the contracts and the acclaim they've received from mainstream media, with both building brands based on extreme left identity politics. The environment's become so bad in publishing that even big fan favorite authors like Brandon Sanderson have completely caved to the woke agenda. And if you don't know about this, I have multiple videos on the channel and articles on Fandom Pulse. You can see exactly how bad the fall has been for Brandon Sanderson. Go read that and watch those videos. It's its own story. One bright spot in the industry has been Baen Books. I've been a Baen Books fan since I've been a kid, guys. It was actually my dream growing up to be at Baen Books, and as like things have come over the last several years, I've kind of just been like, I'll just sell books myself and make money myself. It's fine. But that was what I always wanted as a kid. I was a Lois McMaster Bujold fan, an Elizabeth Moon fan, a John Ringo fan, David Weber fan. If you guys are with me, leave a comment down below. Those are some great authors who I grew up with, and that was like the prize, in my opinion. So they tried to ride the line of being apolitical, and they're the one bastion in science fiction and fantasy where openly conservative and libertarian authors can get published. The company has been a large success over the last decade with Larry Correia's Monster Hunter International series. They boast conservative talent like John Ringo, David Weber, and Tom Kratman. Now, where they've gone wrong is those guys, I love them, the ones I've listed. You know, those guys, like their main sales days, their big epic sales days are kind of behind them. Larry's still way high on this, but he still has peaked, and the other ones have peaked a long time ago. They're getting a lot older. Love all of these people, don't get me wrong, but they have not developed new talent at Baen Books for the next generation. Every single time these people have been left on dying on the vine. I've seen some great authors come out of there. T.C. McCarthy was one. He came out with a couple of books. He wasn't even told by Baen that his book was out. He had to find out because somebody else told him. And that's the level of just mishandling of these smaller authors. There's been zero marketing done, and we'll get more into that in just a minute, as they've kind of had problems over the last couple of years because Larry Correia is really carrying the company. His Monster Hunter series is just covering for all of this stuff, and it's kind of been a jumbled mess because this company is stuck like 20, 30 years ago and won't upgrade to anything, won't change their ways, and just keeps going like they're a monolith traditional publisher from back in the day. And it just doesn't work anymore, is really how it goes. That's why we've been able to be such a success, because we're fluid, we're dynamic, we adapt over here. Baen really doesn't. Is really the sad thing about things. Now, all their troubles really started, and it started in 2023. Baen Books announced the acquisition of Christopher Ruocchio's Sun Eater series from Daw Books. Now, this is not a bad thing. This was actually a great move. They needed a new talent who's rising, who's amazing, who's younger, and this guy's a badass, and he writes incredible books. If you've not read the Sun Eater series, high recommendation. And so when this happened, it was like, wow, Baen really is making a move to set themselves up, right? But what happened was no books came out from them, and then a year later we got this announcement that his books would be returning to DAW Books. The rights were sold back from Baen in a bizarre move, and I think that Baen did this just because they weren't ready to do Christopher justice, and that they knew that he'd do better at his old publisher. And that's a bad sign for the publisher, that they can't take a already successful huge series and make it pay off for them. DAW's publisher said, "I'm incredibly glad that Christopher Ruocchio has returned to DAW with the Sun Eater series, which are the kind of big space operas for fans of James S.A. Corey and Ian M. Banks will love. I look forward to publishing these books and connecting readers to Ruocchio's works for many years to come." She was likely thrilled because this is a money-making series. It does incredibly well for the publishers. The move left many fans in the industry speculating that Baen might have made the move because they're in financial trouble and just couldn't really do the contract justice. Adding to these rumors at the time and the financial woes was the fact that Baen laid off several employees in the last year, including longtime editor Jim Mintz, who was with the company for a lot of years, and company publicist Sean C.W. Korsgaard. Now, on top of this, Tony Daniel, one of their other big longtime editors, left the company for Regency. So they lost big editors at the time. They lost their one publicist. Since this point, to my knowledge, they have not hired a new publicist. What I'm hearing from people at Baen Books is that a lot of the books are just not even getting out to standard press releases or anything like that. There's very little going on. There's very little interviews being set up for different booktubers and things like that. Baen, by the way, call me. We got one of the biggest booktube channels in all of fandom here. 55,000 plus subscribers. You'd think that they'd want to be on here. I've had David Weber on before. Great guy. But whatever. And so, like, books have been dying on the vine in 2024 as a result. It's been crazy. The sales have been very, very low on a lot of things. The couple of bright spots, of course, have been Monster Hunter International series. Whenever David Weber comes out with a book, those tend to do well. And I've heard that, like, a lot of their, like, kind of mid-list author sort of stuff, including S.M. Serling's recent book, not huge sales. Tom Kratman's recent book got crapped on by Publishers Weekly and didn't get huge sales. DJ Butler's books were not doing that great, and he's actually moved on. A lot of these books have just not done very well, according to my sources. And so that's a big problem, because now you have one book author carrying a bunch of books that are not profitable for a company that has a huge corporate structure. Big problems, and this is where it's going on. Now, rumors are, and I've talked to dozens of people, so this has been a big work in progress here. This is not just one person telling me any of this information. I've heard that Baen's been late lately in paying royalties, that there's been problems on that front. Absolutely crazy. Enter Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal, Donald Trump advisor with a giant venture capital fund. And this is where it gets crazy. He came to Baen Books with an offer to buy the company and inject capital to modernize it and preserve Baen for the next generation. Phantom Pulse spoke with multiple industry insiders who confirmed this buyout offer. While details of the offer are not known, Tony Weisskopf, editor-in-chief of Baen Books, reportedly declined Peter Thiel. And that didn't stop his hunger to enter the science fiction and fantasy space. Now, I learned a little bit more about this. Now, I don't think this is Tony's incompetence or fault or anything on that level. I tried to reach out to her. I've tried to have her on the channel. She declined last year. And I didn't hear back this morning when I sent a message last night. I assume I won't really get a response, or I might get a no comment type of response at this juncture. She's always welcome on the channel. Big love to Tony Weisskopf. She's a great editor. But what I learned here is that Baen actually has built into their contracts a kill switch. And I learned this from several anonymous Baen authors I talked to. A clause in every author contract that would make such a buyout impossible. In the event that the company sells, the rights to their books automatically revert back to the authors. This effectively prevents a sale from the company from occurring, as it would be worthless without the top contracts. So what happened at this point is Thiel and his investment group were not deterred, but decided to take over genre fiction themselves with a move that would take a lot of Baen's top remaining talent with them. Ark Press was formed as Thiel and his investors began a new publishing company to run in tandem with Passage Press. I got to think the name Ark Press now is like Noah's Ark, like everything's flooding, the industry's getting destroyed, Baen's going underwater, and so Ark Press seems to have a symbolic name to it as well. And whose face became former Baen author DJ Butler. Butler's been rumored to be on the short list to take over Baen Books once Tony Weisskopf acquired, and is well-liked in author circles. He's best known for his book Witchy Eye, which is highly promoted by longtime friend Larry Correia. Really good author. This is a good book, too. And he's actually come out with a science fiction and fantasy history that he's dropping in April. I know he just did that. I just pre-ordered it. I can't wait to read that. So, interesting stuff right here. So he's kind of the face of Ark Press so far. So I actually reached out to Butler to confirm Thiel's investment group involvement, because I had heard this from a number of places. I actually did the research myself. And I actually thought they were a part of Passage Press when I started talking to him. He said, we're in the same corporate group as Passage Press. Ark has separate editorial and management from Passage. We wish those guys well, and we hope they feel benevolently disposed towards us. Yeah, all good people all around. I actually want all of these people to succeed. But it's very interesting where this goes. So with the announcement of Ark Press came word that Larry Correia would be penning a new modern fantasy series in the vein of Monster Hunter International for the budding company. It appears that Thiel's investment group, unable to procure Baen and the Monster Hunter series, decided to take the talent from Baen and directly compete, as the Monster Hunter series is still under Baen contract. Phantom Pulse learned that Correia pitched the new series to Baen Books, and Baen Books passed on the series. This is very, very weird. Now, I can't imagine. I mean, if Larry Correia decided to just like poop and say that's my new book, it would make money. not that he does. His recent stuff's been awesome. I love his fantasy series, which has been out recently. Son of the Black Sword's a good spot to start. And but he could. I mean, he is that popular, right? And so you'd think that Baen would do anything to buy his books. This is my speculation here because I don't know. Like I said, I reached out to Toni Weisskopf. She hasn't responded, and I'm actually looking at my email even to see if she's responded even as of now. Nothing. But my thoughts is that Baen probably has a right of first refusal or right of first offer on Larry's series. And Larry probably got this offer from Peter Thiel, which was a lot of money, I'm guessing, and then went to Baen and said, hey, can you match this? This is my speculation again. They probably said, no, we can't, because they probably are in financial trouble and do not have that money, and that's why they would have passed. That's the only reason I could think of that Baen would pass on a Larry Correia book. Again, not confirmed or anything like that, and have not heard back on this level. I did ask the question. So Thiel's move didn't stop with just DJ Butler and Larry Correia from Baen Books. He also brought Tony Daniel, heavy hitter editor, who actually left the company before for Regency. And they brought over, and I can't pronounce this guy's name, and I'm sorry if you watch this video, David Afsharirad. David Afsharirad. Is that right? Let me know, guys. All right. But he's another longtime, just storied Baen editor, worked with some great authors, does wonderful work, has a great reputation. So these guys effectively took 3 of Baen's top editors, the guy who was probably going to take over Baen Books upon Toni Weisskopf retiring, 2 of their massive big editors that everybody liked, and then their top talent, Larry Correia. I mean, wow. Now, I've heard that potentially Baen author M.A. Rothman's going over there as well. I don't know. That's not been confirmed yet. So this might start a flood of profitable Baen authors going over here, and this is where it gets kind of interesting. They've undergone layoffs. They were left gutted. They're a shell of what the company formerly have been. An anonymous author told Phantom Pulse that the company's in chaos now. They're undergoing what's described as a civil war because of Thiel's acquisitions. Weisskopf is under stress, increasingly taking on more tasks that should be handed to employees by herself because of layoffs and the like, and people disappearing. Multiple authors have mentioned royalty checks have been slow to arrive in recent months, adding to speculation as to the troubles with the sci-fi publisher. So this is pretty wild. There's also been lack of publicity with recent books, like I said at the beginning of the video. With the layoff of Korsgaard, Baen has never hired another publicist to take his place. Recent book offerings has not gone out to media contacts, and they've just been dying on a vine as a result. Very, very wild. Now, another anonymous insider at Baen Books told me that Baen has standing orders that the people there not to talk to me. And this is wild because, again, I'm the biggest journalist in this space. I'm the biggest booktuber in this space. I run the biggest science fiction blog. It's bigger than Scalzi's blog. The only person who would give them positive press whatsoever that has a following. And they've got standing orders not to acknowledge what we're doing, which is pretty wild. It was very nice to see that I'm actually blocked on X by their corporate account, which is crazy too. So we got Passage Books here. If you go to Baen Books, this is like, why would you do this with a corporate account? This is silly. And you can see they've got some issues that are going on right now. They've got 25,000 followers, but like look at a lot of their posts are getting like 400 views. I mean, maybe 300 views. Their account's not going very well. And so this is not, you get 400 views on something, nobody's seeing it, and no new people are seeing it. So they really need a social media overhaul. Whoever did this is just asinine because, again, I'm one of the few people who would actually promote their stuff. And so they've got a lot of problems going on at this company, and no wonder the talent's out there leaving and going for greener pastures at this spot. And with Peter Thiel at the helm of this Ark Press, guys, and actually funding it and putting real money into something that's going to be a competition that has a stated mission statement that they actually want to make books for young boys and the like, this could really change the culture. I'm really high on Ark Press now that I've learned all this information. I think they are primed to be in a spot where they can really win. And so I'm going to be watching this very, very closely as it goes along. So that's all the information right now. Peter Thiel tried to buy Baen Books, was declined. Baen Books has this kill switch where their company will just die if they can't even sell, so they can't really raise capital. And this Ark Press is in a great spot, taking some of the top talent out there with them to be able to do something new. That's where science fiction has been upended, and this is just the beginning of 2025. Things are changing at a rapid clip, everybody. What do you think about this? This is huge. Hit the like and subscribe button. Join us. Leave a comment, my friends. Follow my fandom pulse. I've got lots of links in the description below. And please support our science fiction as well. We are building something awesome right here, and I can't wait to bring you Valiant Frontiers later this year. Start here with The Stars Entwined. Get the whole trilogy of the Oration War today on ebook, print, and audio. This is the science fiction you're looking for, and I really appreciate everybody who's been reading. I get so many comments these days, and I love you guys so much. I love the readers more than anything. Let's make science fiction great again, and I appreciate you for being there.